Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Alessandros Civil Issues Podcast, a podcast where I talk into a mic about civil issues. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Imagine you're walking through the streets of beautiful downtown San Diego. The sun is shining, the weather's perfect, and the city feels alive. You're laughing with a friend, a coffee in hand, a couple of shopping bags swinging as you go. But then, something catches your eye. A person curled up on the sidewalk across the street. They're surrounded by nothing but trash bags and a shopping cart filled with their only possessions. For a split second, you pause, then without skipping a beat, you look away and continue your conversation. This isn't a moment of cruelty, it's a defense mechanism. We've grown numb to it. Homelessness has become so prevalent that it blends into the background of our daily lives. It's uncomfortable to face, so we dismiss it as someone else's problem or a challenge too big to solve. But here's the truth. These individuals are not invisible. They are our fellow San Diegans, mothers, fathers, children, and veterans. People who through a combination of unfortunate circumstances have been left on the streets cold and alone. It's time we stop ignoring the crisis. It's time to take action and create real, lasting change. Now I'm going to be talking a little bit about the facts, the grounding issues within the homeless crisis here in San Diego. According to Voice of San Diego, as of January 1st, 2024, at least 10,605 people have been declared homeless in San Diego. To put that into perspective, that's more than the population of many small towns within the US. So what this is letting us know is that these issues are only getting larger with more and more of the population needing our assistance, yet we still turned a blind eye. Now, Nexus reports that more than 40% of these individuals struggle with mental illness, and for many, they lack that access to mental health care, which only exacerbates their situation. These are people who have been struggling with mental health either before or after to them becoming homeless, and are seeking that active help in their situation, yet they are being met with little to no assistance from the government. The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Center adds that 38% of the homeless population are completely dependent on alcohol, while another 26% are struggling with addiction to other hard drugs. And it doesn't stop there. The YWCA San Diego reports that 57% of the homeless individuals are escaping domestic violence and abuse. Think about that for a second. More than half of the people sleeping on the streets are fleeing dangerous, life-threatening situations, and the crisis is only growing. The County of San Diego reported a 22% increase in homelessness from 2022 to 2023. In 2024, that number has nearly doubled. Despite the sharp rise, the county recently proposed a plan to ban tent living, claiming there is room in shelters, but here's the reality. Nonprofits like SBCS, which stands for South Bay Community Services, which are depicted to helping those in need, report that 97% of all shelters in San Diego have already hit full capacity and are now placing the homeless population on a wait list. The disconnect between perception and reality highlights the need for better solutions, not punishment. Because now these are people who went actively seeking help, doing everything they were told to do, and are still going to be harassed and attacked by police officers. Now I'm going to be talking a little bit about the problem, humanizing the crisis a bit for you. It's easy to see homelessness as a policy issue, but at its core, it's all about people, real people who have dreams, family, and potential. Yet instead of helping them, we often criminalize their survival. Rather than harassing individuals or sleeping in tents, shouldn't we be asking them why don't they have a home, what support systems have failed them, and how can we help them rebuild their lives and get that help that they were neglected the first time? Organizations like SBCS have shown that rehabilitation works. Now, here's a quick message from SBCS and what their program provides for people in need.
Have had over 180 hours of training in different areas, including family crisis, domestic violence, trainings on how to outreach to the community door to door. We have workshops for parents, nutrition classes, computer literacy classes, leadership classes. Everything is for the parent.
According to NBC San Diego, SBCS has already helped 42% of individuals in their programs get back on their feet. Fox 5 reports similarly that families now make up 1/3 of the population here in San Diego. Can you imagine parents, children, entire families sleeping in cars, parks, and sidewalks? This is no longer just about individuals. It's a family crisis and a community crisis. This hits very close to home for me because when I was in elementary school, I remember all of us sitting at our little table and talking about how we couldn't wait to go home, take a shower, and sleep in our own beds. When I noticed one of my friends was being oddly quiet, I turned to him to ask him what was wrong. He shook it off, said nothing was the matter. But after a little bit of talking, later he confessed to me that he never had his own bed. Me not knowing at the time, I followed up with why, being young and not really knowing the severity of the situation. He then expressed to me that he was homeless and that his mom was a single mom of 2 children who worked full-time to provide for them, yet she couldn't afford a house and had no family or anybody to turn to, which is why we need to be actively working to fix this issue. Now, the solution, what works and why it matters. What can we do? The good news is that when support systems are put in place, they work. San Diego Now reports that after receiving rehabilitation, 78% of the homeless population. Now, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the solution, what works and why it matters. So what can we do? The good news is that when support systems are put in place, they work. San Diego Now reports that after receiving rehabilitation, 78% of homeless individuals successfully get back on track. Addressing homelessness also means addressing its root causes, such as mental illness, substance abuse, and lack of affordable housing. It's a cycle. As Nexus points out, illness is exacerbated by homelessness, and homelessness itself worsens physical and mental health. Now, a call to action. What can we do together? Here's the truth. No single person can solve homelessness, but together, as a community, we can make a difference. By supporting organizations like SBCS, advocating for better mental health resources, and pushing for more affordable housing solutions, we can help real people rebuild their lives. Imagine what could happen if we redirected that energy spent punishing homeless people into solving it, providing access to healthcare for those in need, offering job opportunities to people ready to work, ensuring that every San Diegan has a roof over their head and a chance to start fresh. When we come together, we lift people up. We don't just change individual lives, we change our entire community for the better. Now, for our closing message for today's podcast, San Diego is a beautiful city, but its beauty is overshadowed. San Diego is a beautiful city, but its beauty is overshadowed when so many of our neighbors are left behind. By acknowledging the problem, advocating for solutions, and supporting the organizations already making a difference, we can build a better, brighter future, one where every San Diegan has access to safety, support, and dignity. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Let's work together to make a real change happen. I'd like to thank you all for coming to Alessandros Civil Podcast, a podcast where I talk into a mic about civil issues. I hope you enjoyed and take something away from today's podcast episode. Now, before I go, just remember, no one should live this way. Help fight homelessness in San Diego. With the number below, you can reach out to the homeless outreach team here within San Diego at 619-446-1010. You can also contact them by email at hot@pd.sandiego.government.
2,000 years later.
Bye.